Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 4 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we go to Talladega in the Cup Series as well as Las Vegas in the Truck Series. But there you see today's little news snippet. CGR announces that Clover will be our primary sponsor next season when we're in the 42 car, but Credit One Bank and McDonald's will also be on the car multiple times in the season. But here we come through into the Truck Series for Las Vegas in the playoffs, actually, where, like I said, we have Greg Biffle in our car as our playoff driver. So obviously we had him in the truck here today, I should say, not the car, the truck. But either way, he started just outside of the top 10, but as he came through now already to the final lap of this race here in Vegas, just behind Matt Crafton at a turns 4. He didn't really move forwards a whole lot, but he definitely did gain some positions. But after he climbed up inside the top 10 to P7, that was as far as he got, as we're going to go straight into Talladega without qualifying because we know where we would qualify.
We're live at Talladega for the 1000bulbs.com 500. The playoffs are in full swing, and for those drivers in the playoffs, a win today would clinch a spot in the next round. Which drivers will steer clear of trouble and visit victory lane? Let's go down to the track and find out. NASCAR racing is next.
All right, thank you, Rick Allen. We're ready to go green here for the 1000 Bulbs 500 at Talladega. Bubba Wallace is having a stellar weekend. Look out for him here today in Talladega as Kyle Larson, for the second race in a row, is on the pole position. Obviously, we're going to be driving that car next season, so it's nice to see that car has a little bit of speed. Either way, we are ready to go green here in Talladega now as the green flag is out, and we are underway here at Talladega Super Speedway. Keep in mind, we won last episode in Dover, which actually locks us into the next round of the round of 8 in the playoffs, which means we come into Talladega here today without a worry in the world. We don't have anything to worry about, which gave me a kind of different headset going into this race. I want to just kind of lay it out on the line and make some aggressive moves and just kind of see what we can make happen. I actually turned draft partners back on for this race, I should mention, and it seemed like it actually made things quite crazy at times here, so maybe we'll consider leaving draft partners on. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with the draft partners system, but we're going to see how it turns out here today in Talladega. As we right behind us, we've got the 31 of Tyler Reddick, who looks to my inside. Keep in mind, Kyle Busch comes into this race only 1 point above the cut line after DNFing very early on in Dover last episode when he was leading in that first stages. Obviously, he blew a tire right in front of us, smashed into the outside wall with the right side of his car, and that took him right out of the race. So very unfortunate for the one-time Cup Series champion as we go up the inside of the 31 of Tyler Reddick here on the start of the second lap. Obviously, at the beginning, got to be on the bottom lane if we want to move our way forwards here as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. Already you can see up top the 21 of the 17 of Menard and Stanos working together, both connected there, bumper to bumper, tandeming as we go down this back straightaway, not going 3 wide there with Kligerman, as I decided to just kind of chill out at this point here as we went down into turn 3. Eric Jones at this point, though, leading the way as they came through the corner, and as we came through now at lap 3, we had moved up now to P29, so we were just kind of consistently moving our way forwards here on this bottom lane up to P26 now on lap 4. Then we had help from behind from Cody Ware. We got into the back there for the 96 of Kligerman, and we just kind of continued to move our way forwards as we came through on lap 6 now up to P18 inside the top 20 just behind the 9 of Chase Elliott. So definitely showing a lot of speed, I think, here in this race. As Joey Logano there is up on the outside just behind us, running with the 13 of Ty Dillon. There you see the 1 car of Kurt Busch, as well as I was running with Elliott, like I said, but we would actually get to the inside of Elliott and then get in behind the 11 of Denny Hamlin, who we've had a few run-ins with here very recently in the career mode now as we go down this front straightaway close to a top 10 position as the laps are starting to wind down at this point in the stage. Kyle Busch there in P9. He needs every point he can get, and I decided to be really nice here to Kyle Busch. I'd back off the throttle just a little bit there, and I want to allow Kyle Busch to get into that inside lane here in turns 1 and back out of it again and allow him to get down on that bottom lane. So we would kind of stick with him, and we would climb up all the way to P6 here behind Kyle Busch now on lap 10 of 13, just kind of following him because there was a lot of cars on this top lane. But then the 52 of Cody Ware goes to my inside down this back straightaway. We got help from Brad Keselowski in behind us as we go down into turn 3, trying to not get to that inside of the 18 of Kyle Busch and mess him over. So I just kind of stay in behind him through turns 3 and turn 4. Keselowski just behind me now as there's a little bit of contact between myself and the 18, getting him a little bit loose there as we go down into the trial. The 18 goes up the track though, and I decide finally I'm just going to go and leave him behind as we go through this trial, completing the lap there. The 47 of Ryan Preece out front in front of Alex Bowman at this point with only 3 laps to go on the stage. things would then escalate as you see some 3 wide racing here, coming to just 2 to go. Some cars pitting, Stenhouse and maybe Daniel Hemrick it was. They're coming to the pit lane by Hamlin. Bowman all the way up top at this point. I'm right in the middle here behind the 37 of Chris Buescher, the 47 of Priest. He goes all the way to the top. They're going to go 4 wide in front of us, and I'm going to actually escalate it even more. I'm going to follow the 37, nearly get into the 52 of Cody Ware. He gets out of the situation. Don't blame him at all, as we're still, though, 3 wide in the middle between the 34 and the 11, and the 34 actually gets cleared by me, so I could drop down if I wanted to, but I decided to stay committed to the 37 down this back straightaway into turn 3. Bowman still on my outside as we're approaching this final lap in the stage. Well, more drivers pit. You see the field light is on. It's going to be close. On field now, as it looked like someone nearly got in the wall behind us, maybe Jamie McMurray, and it looks like the 47 and the 43 were going to pit, and then they decided maybe not to as we go down this front straightaway approaching the final lap here in stage 1. Kyle Busch gets to my inside now as the 47 leads the way at the white flag here as we go down into turns 1. Bubba Wallace though trying to put on some pressure on Ryan Preece. Up ahead though, you can see Daniel Hemrick is slow from exiting the pit lane. This is an opportunity for us to maybe attack on it now as we go down this back straightaway, and the AI will definitely slow up, so I pull to the right, and sure enough, we're going to get past the 34, past the 37, and the 8 of Hemrick, and then we're going to come through alongside Bubba Wallace, where we're going to be taking 3 wide into turn 3 on this final lap of the stage. Kyle Busch now in second place now as we get in behind the 43, but he's slowing up. He's either out of field or trying to pit now as he's sideways on the exit of the corner. He hangs onto it. The 47's leading down this front straightaway, but he's now running out of fuel in front of us, it looks like, as they start to slow up in front of us as we come through this trial. The 11 up top, and now we're going to come through and win the stage somehow. We just completely stole the stage victory. What a wild final lap here in the first stage in Talladega. Certainly caught me way off guard. We would have to come to the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires obviously, and get ready to go back green from now P2. Actually, Stenhouse would stay out at the end of stage 1, so now we got to deal with one of the most dangerous plate track drivers here in stage 2. Now as the green flag is back out, we are underway stage 2, just 10 laps, so definitely got enough fuel this time to go to the end, and we actually get a decent launch compared to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We don't quite clear him down into turns 1, but Kyle Busch behind us took Tyler Reddick 3 wide. He did get stage points, Kyle Busch did, so that's obviously going to be big for him. But you see behind us, when Kyle Busch made it 3 wide, it pretty much destroyed the momentum of really any cars up on the top behind me. But then the 52 of Cody Ware actually decides to get up to the top lane with me, which is going to help us a lot if he gets connected to my bumpers. Go down into turn 3 wide with Kligerman and Kyle Busch, but then the 52 sure enough does get connected to my rear bumper as we come through the center of turns 3 and turn 4. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. leading the way over second place of Kyle Busch, and actually hit the wall there through turns 3 and 4 as I just got continuously pushed by the 52, and it just kind of drifted me up towards that wall, unfortunately. But either way, we still continue to battle back now as we come through to complete this first and opening lap here of stage 2. Kligerman still on my inside as we go down into turns 1, hoping that myself and Ware can work our way forwards. But it seems like when you got draft partners on, you can definitely make the higher lanes work better. But unfortunately, we still would fade down through the field, so I had to get in behind Denny Hamlin, the JGR drivers, who went down into turns 1. Obviously, like I said, we've had some moments here with Denny Hamlin recently in the career mode, so we know he's probably not the biggest fan of myself right now, but we continued to follow Denny, even going 3 wide up the middle between the 47 of Priest and the 36 of Matt Tifft, who was on my inside on lap 4 of 10 here in the second stage. Hamlin side by side with the 7-time champion of Jimmy Johnson, who got eliminated from the playoffs in the last round, unfortunately for Jimmy, as we go down into turn 3. Now the 47 would turn into a bit of a draft partner now, as there's a bit of a slow up right in front of us there, getting into the back of Hamlin now as it's the 9 of Elliott all the way up top there as we go down the front straightaway. Then I finally get down to the bottom in front of my teammate of Clint Moyer right now. Obviously the one Stuart Haas car still not in the playoffs, unfortunately. We were trying to get past Hamlin and Harvick, but I would be able to get ahead of Hamlin, but Harvick would get down in front of me, so we were side by side with Hamlin on lap 5 out of turns 4 as we go down this front straightaway. Now as we get to the back of the 4, there's a wreck right in front of us. The 40 of Jamie McMurray goes sprinting down towards the infield, and that would bring out the caution, obviously. Stenhouse coming to the pit lane. We're we're going to get a replay on the screen right away here of what in the world just happened to Jamie McMurray, as we were very fortunate to not get caught up in that mess as I started turning to the left to avoid him. And you see right there must have been some type of rear tire failure for Jamie McMurray when spinning right in front of the field. Very fortunate that he didn't collect more cars. Kyle Busch did get a piece of it, but not enough to make him come to the pit lane. Now as the green flag would be back out here with just 2 laps to go once we cross the line in the stage. Kyle Busch up there in P4, kind of the driver I've been watching here today in Talladega. He cannot really afford a bad finish because he comes into this race only 1 point to the good, even though I think he came into this round second in the playoff standings. Obviously, Kyle Busch, he's made the Final Four in both seasons we've done in the Cup Series so far, and he wants to make it a third this time around. But obviously, last season, he could afford a couple bad races in the playoffs because he had so many wins, so many stage wins. He had a lot of poles as well, so he had so many playoff points picked up on his name that he could afford some bad races. But unfortunately, he's all the way up on the outside 3 wide, so he might fall outside of the top 10 as we're up to the back now of our teammate Kevin Harvick. Obviously, I want to help my Stewart Haas Racing teammates this time out here in Talladega, as we know we're locked into the next round. So I get up nearly into the inside of our teammate of Harvick, but I decide to make sure we get up behind him here, coming to the way. Then he goes down to the bottom as I go to the top, and the 43 did the same thing. So all of a sudden, we find ourselves on the outside out of nowhere here at the start of this final lap in stage 2. That certainly did not go our way, as we do have help though from the 36 of Matt Tips, so that should certainly make things better. It seems like though with draft partners on, you can actually lead that outside lane and get much better of a run here when you lead that outside lane instead of just falling back straight away. Now as we're up to the back of the 43 of Bubba Wallace, as we go down into turn 3, we're going to push him on this final lap of the stage. Landon Castle on my inside, Jimmy Johnson, Matt DiBenedetto up here in the mix in that Barstool car now as we exit turn 4. The 36 of Tipped within a half a car length of myself now, as it was Kevin Harvick though in P2 coming to the line behind Brendan Gaughan. We got to the inside of Bubba Wallace. We're 3 wide coming to the line in the middle. It's the 62 of Brendan Gaughan winning stage 2. Kevin Harvick second. We get P4 here as Castle gets third. Bubba Wallace 5th. Ryan Newman rounds out the top 10. Could Newman make it into that round of 8? We're going to find out as well. Now, as we would gain a position at the start of stage 3 under the pit stops for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires. So this lines us up pretty well here for the start of this final stage on the inside lane, just behind the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. Last time we saw the 62 of Brendan Gaughan up front at Talladega in real life, well, we know how that ended. He ended up flipping over and actually sticking the landing pretty well now as we go down through turns 1, and already drivers trying to get aggressive beside us. We're going 3 wide with Bubba Wallace in the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Johnson, the 7-time champ, going to try his best to maybe get clear of this group, because if you're 3 wide on that outside, you just fall back so quick. And fortunately for Jimmy, he does get ahead now as they're almost going 3 wide. They are going 3 wide for the lead between Gaughan, Harvick, and Landon Castle. Jimmy Johnson to the inside behind Brendan Gaughan. He's going to get connected to his bumper, and now he looks to the outside nearly, but he decides to get right back in line as we have a huge run after a big shove from the 36 of Matt Tipped as we exit turns 4. Right to the back of Jimmy Johnson, we slice to the outside instead and make a big move here on the outside through the trial. Well, now as we're up to P2 at this point with still help from the 36 of Matt Tipped as we cross the line, completing this first and opening lap here at Talladega Superspeedway of this third and final stage. At least now as we're actually going to drop down in front of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, kind of leaving Matt Tipped to hang here as he still does have help from Kevin Harvick as we exit turns 2. Now trying to find a way to make a move on the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. We look to the left, but he's going to kind of cover that off pretty well, so we just kind of chill in behind him as I just didn't quite have the run to make a move. But as we go down towards turn 3, Brendan Gaughan runs all the way to the wall, and all of a sudden myself and Jimmy Johnson are just going to get linked up and drive right on by the 62 of Brendan Gaughan like it was not even a challenge. So all of a sudden, here we are now leading in Talladega. But once you take the lead, everyone seems to really start to group up, so you really have to protect 2 lanes here, and Johnson would just move to the top out of nowhere and give up P2 to Alex Bowman. So that was a very questionable call by the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson. Now as we go down into turns 1, the 95 would get up the inside of the 88 as well as we came through turns 1 and 2. Now as we came through on lap 32, still running right in front of the 88 though, has a bit of a run there as I go up to protect that to make sure he doesn't get that run, and then the 95 has help from the 48. I didn't realize that they were connected, and that gave the 95 an even larger run than I had already anticipated. So they blow right on by me. Now all of a sudden, we're in the middle here of a 3 wide between Bowman and the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Still getting help from Matt Tifft. We've definitely been able to rely on Matt Tifft throughout this race to help us out. Now as we go down this back straightaway, just trying to maybe hopefully get a chance to go to the bottom, but then I decided to pick up the 88 of Bowman, but we would continue moving forward as we had dropped down to P12, got linked back up with Jimmy Johnson, and all of a sudden you see our inside lane is open for the taking. So I was actually planning on bringing Jimmy Johnson with me. So I wait till the back straightaway and we just kind of glide down the track towards that yellow line and bring the 48 of Jimmy Johnson down there as we came through now on lap 36. I actually decided to spice things up again and go to the outside of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson as I was just kind of running around this bottom lane, and I was kind of getting a little bit bored of doing that. I just wanted to see what we could do here, and obviously we continue to get aggressive now. We went up the inside of the CGR cars, the Chip Ganassi cars, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, as we came through turns 3 wide up the middle again as Jones had gotten to my inside at this point as we came out of turns 3 wide, still up the middle, but we're going to clear the 42 of Larson. We would get to the inside of the 52 of Cody Ware. We would pass him as well, and then as we came through on lap 38, Blaney goes up the track, so I decided to go to the inside of him as well, as we're at least back up inside the top 10 at this point, but we knew green flag pit stops could be lurking very soon. There was only 4 laps to feel in the car at this point. Now as we came through on lap 39, again connected to Jimmy Johnson, but this time we kind of hang him out, go to the inside here behind the 20 of Eric Jones Stenhouse up top, so we just stayed to the bottom and we would fly right on past the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We came through now on lap 40, going to the outside of Eric Jones, now getting connected to the back of the 19 of Truex. Daniel Hemrick on the very bottom. He certainly made things interesting at the end of stage 1, but here he is now up in the mix for the victory battle possibly. But we were now really close to the green flag pit stop, so I was expecting them very soon. There was a bit of a side draft on the 20 of Eric Jones, who came to at the end of lap 40, now getting in behind the 20 of Jones, and we would follow him 3 wide up the middle. Now on lap 41, you see the field light had actually come on at this point, so now we had to get in preparations. Obviously, I was looking for an opportunity to get to that bottom lane, but didn't quite have that chance to rise up on this lap, so I was already committed to staying out another lap now, as we did have enough fuel to run one more lap if necessary. We're still 3 wide up the middle between Martin Truex Jr., the 47 of Priest, and there you see some cars coming to the pit lane on the exit of the corner. Matt DiBenedetto, the leader. William Byron now takes over the lead, and we move up to P3 with help from our teammate of Eric Almirola. We would all get to the inside of William Byron though at the end of this lap here, and then it was time for us to make our pit stop. We had to come to the pit lane this lap no matter what now as we exit turns 4, trying to make sure we don't completely mess up this pit entry now, as obviously we did that in Dover, but this time we get to the pit lane without any issues. There's a little bit of contact with the 20 of Eric Jones, but obviously we would come in for just half a can of fuel. That's all we would take. I anticipated the AI taking 1 can of fuel and staying in the pit lane longer. That's exactly what they did. So we come through out in 6.2 seconds. So we beat everybody off the pit lane here that at least came in with this group at least now as we exit the pit lane. So all of a sudden we are leading for a brief moment, but there was some faster cars coming around, like the 47 of Ryan Preece as we came through down this back straightaway. You're going to see Preece was linked up with the 95, and then I knew I had to get in front of Paul Menard to even have a slim chance of doing anything, and thankfully he carries his momentum right to my back bumper, becomes the draft partner, and now we gain the speed, and now all of a sudden it turns into a bit of a tandem party here as we came through on lap 44, approaching just 3 laps to go. The 95 and the 47 actually get disconnected, so now the 21 is going to get reconnected to my bumper, and we're closing in quickly on the back of the 95 of Matt DiBenedetto as we go down through this tri-oval, approaching just 3 laps to go. Ryan Preece out in front. We might be able to work with DiBenedetto and make this a 3-car group and just kind of gang up on the back of the 47 of Ryan Preece as we go down into turns 1. We're going to get right to that back bumper of DiBenedetto. Now he is a draft partner as well, but Menard's got disconnected from us. As we come through turns 1, the caution comes out with 3 laps to go here in Talladega from Cody Ware, it looks like, and this will force an overtime restart. Ryan Preece and Matt DiBenedetto on that front row, both looking for their first wins of the season. Preece hasn't won since our first Daytona 500 a few seasons ago. Now as the green flag is back out, overtime is underway here at Talladega Superspeedway. Ryan Preece leads the way. Can he hold on to victory behind us? We got the 8 of Daniel Hemrick there, ready to make a move if necessary as we go down into turns 1. I decided to make sure I really protected this bottom lane this time, because we know the AI sometimes do like to take it 3 wide down into turns 1 one, especially on these restarts here in Talladega. But we're clear right away of the 95 of Matt Benedetto, so only a lap and a half to go. We know we have an opportunity here. We build up enough of a run now as the 47's up top, so obviously we go up top with them. But the draft isn't enough to keep me ahead of the 8 of Daniel Hemrick, so all of a sudden, now we're going to be forced to run that top lane now as we come through turn 3, and the 47 goes all the way to the top, doesn't even try to block us, and we still have help from Benedetto, so all of a sudden Daniel Hemrick is out front with the tire icon comes on. That will not be an issue as we approach this final lap now, as that was a bit of a mistake on my part on the back straightaway, thinking that the 47's draft would keep me ahead of the 8 of Daniel Hemrick, but he leads at the white flag. We have an opportunity here to somehow get 3 wins in a row if we play our cards right now as we come through turns 1 and 2. Hamlin up into second with help from Chase Elliott now as we come through the center of the corner. We know Hamlin would love to win his way in to the next round. Obviously, he's got quite a few wins this season, leading the points this whole season pretty much, as we have a huge run down the back straightaway though from the 8 of Hemrick's draft as we go down into turn 3, not clear of Hamlin, but we try to move anyways. We hit Hamlin, we bounce off him into the 8 of Daniel Hemrick through turns 3. He gets sideways, he hangs on to it there as Hamlin though will lead through turns 4 and down this front straightaway. Benedetto on my back bumper, Bowman on the inside with the 37 of Chris Buescher, the 9 of Elliott now fading in front of us as Hamlin though will lead the way to come through to win in Talladega as we cross the line to finish in P5 here at Talladega Super Speedway. Obviously, that was a very aggressive move on my part going into turns 3, as I felt like it was just kind of a necessary move to make because I wanted to go for the win. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. The 11, I knew the 11 was on my inside, and I still tried to kind of slice in between him and the 8 of Daniel Hemrick anyways, and I hit the 11, bounced way up the track after that, and obviously hit the 8. Thankfully, it wasn't too severe of a hit to Hamlin to where it just didn't shoot me into the 8. But unfortunately, we still messed up the 8 of Hemrick quite significantly there. But after the race, I said I went for it all today. We had nothing to lose. Excited to see what happens in Kansas. You may notice, though, Kyle Busch did not have a good finish either, and you saw the playoff grid.
Hey, good job out there recently. You're starting to turn some heads. Keep it up.
Thank you, Alex Bone. But like I said, you saw the playoff grid. Kyle Busch is 10 points out of the cutoff line. So all of a sudden, we're going to go into Kansas with the big storyline of Kyle Busch on the verge of elimination in just the round of 12, which you don't really see very often from the one-time Cup Series champion. So we're going to see, obviously, if Kyle Busch can bounce back in Kansas and change things up and keep his hopes for his second Cup Series championship alive, and then maybe he can match his real-life championships now, as we're going to show that playoff grid, though, one more time before we get going. I actually decided to show the updated rivals list right now. Ty Dillon's actually the most angry with us. Suarez, who we haven't seen at all in the Cup Series yet, and then Joey Logano's a little bit upset. Elliott kind of there, and then everyone else is pretty happy with us. But as always, if you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very, very appreciated. So, like I said, we're going to show the playoff grid one more time before we end it. Hamlin and myself have advanced to the next round. Harvick, Almirola, they're up in the top 5. So we have all SHR cars right now that are in the playoffs, in the top 5 in points. So it looks like we'll all advance without any issues, hopefully. But Kyle Busch out, Keselowski and Truex as well. There's big storylines going into the next one, so it'll be interesting. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one in Kansas. Have a great day, everybody.